Alright, what's up guys? I haven't been on here for quite a while, but as you can see visually and audiotistically, I got a new setup, new cam, new mic, whole new big ass screen, 28 inches, 4K screen, 4K webcam, just to get it popping off a little different now. So I think I'm having some mild issues with my camera still, and I'm still missing my desktop light up here, so the lighting is not at its peak right now. Speaking about at its peak, today we're gonna go over some of the worst takes by Anthony Fantano, Bibbidi Up Gambano. I have not seen this video yet, and I'm pretty sure that 90% of these reviews are new to me. Unknown territory, digging in here. So let's see what this young man is saying. Of course, I've seen some Fantano reviews, most of them somewhat enraging, though, music is somewhat subjective. The majority of musical taste is on pure subjectivity. I'd say we just start. If this is not good, we're gonna go over through some shorts. I've seen there have been some quick short compilations as well, but I'm just gonna go full screen here and see what we have got.
People think that it starts strong, it finishes super weak. The concept at best is spotty, and that is partially made up for with solid features.
Alright, so we got My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy here by Kanye West, or formerly known as Kanye West. Some would say his best project. I would disagree. And I know that Fantano gave this like something between a 4 and a 7 or 8, something in this range. I know it wasn't 8 or above, it wasn't 4 or below, so I think he gave it a 5 or 6 as far as I remember. Yeah, pretty enraging.
Extravagant, amazing, high quality instrumentals, but overall, in my opinion, to put this album in a word, overrated. I am feeling a strong 5 to a light 6.
Alright, so he gave it a 5 to 6, let's just say it's a 5.5 at this point. I mean, saying he gave it a 6 would be also a little bit unfair. He gave it a 5 as much as a 6. So let's just go to the middle ground here. I definitely wouldn't say this album is overrated. I'm not the biggest Kanye fan, but this man's artistic personality and artistic, how would you say, genius could definitely not be denied. And I think from this Kanye era, no album is below a 7 or 8. And since he not even really gave it a 6, I would say that's pretty enraging, especially when you consider which albums Fantano gave a number above a 6 or even a 6. If you don't know Fantano, you just might think, oh, he's just a harsh guy, doesn't fuck with hip-hop, whatever. But he's just giving it a 5 or 6 because he's not into that genre. He's a very harsh critic. But in fact, there are a lot of albums that the majority of us would agree are crap, that he gave a rating above a strong 5 to light 6. Alright, let's get to the next album, Swim or Swimming by Mac Miller. I'm not that big into Mac Miller, so I don't really have an opinion on this work. So please write down in the comments what you think of this rating. I can't really comment on this one.
Mac is trying to do should work, should be fantastic. But what he actually comes through with on this album is just too blasé for words. I'm feeling a light to decent 3. I can't really see myself returning to much on this album.
Okay, we back. I love this fucking tape. I love the trilogy tape. I love this. It's Weeknd's first album or mixtape. I don't know how he classified it. I've been to the Weeknd concert in Munich 2 years ago. Already 3 years ago. What the hell? Fucking love the Weeknd, and especially his early works. Really got to me, like his early works. The only album I didn't really, mess with was Kissland. Let's just say the one half of Kissland wasn't really my type of shit, but everything besides that, and of course the HBO soundtracks, I didn't really care for them much either. But anything below an 8, in my opinion, is crazy. Anything below a 7 is just blasphemy at this point. Like, just the influence of this album is, in the R&B world, it's probably one of the 5 most influential albums ever in this whole genre.
I'm feeling like a strong 3 to a light.
This is crazy. If I remember correctly, this man gave Lil Pump's Harvard Dropout by fucking Lil Pump, what was it, 28 songs, 29 songs, something about that. Huge bloated album, garbage. A 3 as well. Pretty sure about that. So he's rating House of Balloons, one of the most influential and best R&B genres of this modern era, the same rating as a blown out ass trap album by Lil Pump. Alright, or as Trump would call him, Lil Pimp.
4 on this. This album, in a word, is incredibly...
Alright, here I have to add that I'm not really into the Jesus album, just because at the time, when I picked up Kanye's old albums, I wasn't really, I was barely talking when his first 3 to 4 albums released. So when I learned about Kanye and his stuff some years back, I started with these albums, and I never really got to listen to this one. I just know about 2 tracks actually, so I can give much opinion on that, but I already have a strong feeling where this is going.
Middle brow. I'm feeling a light to decent 5.
Alright. Honestly, just, some Kanye fans also might say Jesus is his best work. But I think the majority would either go for Graduation or My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. And I have to admit that I feel like this 5 here would or could be way more acceptable to a Kanye fan and to most of us than the 5 or 6, light 6 for MBDTF.
Jesus. How did Travis lose his drive and his ability to put together a solidly built song within the span of a year? Maybe he's grown complacent.
I like that album, but I think if you don't consider the collab album of Travis with Offset, with Quavo, I would consider this one to be his weakest album.
Not really sure. I'm feeling a strong 2 to a light 3. Bring funnier.
I would say no Travis Scott album is below a 5. But alright, we know it's pretty clear that Fantano doesn't like trap albums that much, trap music in general. But when it's an artist that he fucks with on a personal level, he will rate it way higher. And also, he rates trap albums higher nowadays and for the last 4 to 5 years than he did when, you know, trap was sort of like a new thing or still not at its prime, at its peak.
Bars, more antics, more chaos, more toxicity, more personality, and I can only hope that she...
You see, if you've watched this compilation so far and you don't know about Fantano, you might just say, kind of pisses me off because I think differently, but some of you might still think, well, he's this harsh guy, rating everything bad. But it really, really gets bad when you see the rating of this album, because we all agree this album is garbage, trash. And when you see which number he gives this album, all the other ratings in before just seem ludicrous, ridiculous.
Finds a way to leapfrog what she's done here down the road when she drops more stuff. I'm feeling a decent to strong 8. The lyrics are subpar, occasionally laughable.
Of all the albums we had so far, this is his favorite one. And this is where it gets just ridiculous. It's the comparison, if you compare the ratings, that really kind of make Fantano seem completely unreasonable, which he is. I mean, this is the proof.
Is media.
Everybody who really gives a shit about this man's ratings, just, you know, step back, sit back, relax. All right?
The rapping is just average. The instrumentals are bland. The whole thing is steeped in just like this pitiful angst, and to top...
I'm not a big X fan myself, but just because of the influence and that this number is this album and this artist is still putting out huge numbers 8 years after his death. I think almost 8 years in June. It's crazy. And I think back at the time when this released, I actually listened to this album on release, and I still have some songs added in some of my playlists I listen to, you know, handful of times a year. I would have given this album at least a 6, probably 7 or 6.5 because of the, you know, artistic variety he gives us here, which is not that usual for an emo trap rapper or emo trapper.
It all off. This album is essentially the musical equivalent of this shirt. You laugh at me because I'm different. I laugh at you because you're all the same. I'm feeling a decent...
Bro got them dad jokes. 2 is crazy. 2 is crazy. Because even if you don't like X at all, not just don't care for him like I do, but don't like him at all, please argue in the comments if you think this album is 6 points worse out of 10 than Hood's Hottest Princess.
2 on this thing. It's just that after having been toyed with, I was given an album that I thought was really great. Can't really say that that happened in this case.
I would give it a 7 or an 8. From all the Kanye albums I've really listened into this far, it's probably my favorite or my second favorite. I would give it a 7.
I'm feeling a strong 5 to a light 6.
That's crazy.
On this thing. But most of this...
So he rates this the same as My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, but you know, when you're his driver, he's on the passenger seat, he's your little passenger princess, you give him the aux, he rather puts on Hood's Hottest Princess than The Life of Pablo or My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Album is just a crapshoot, which is why I feel a strong 3 to a light 4.
I would have given this album probably a 6 or 7. I feel like this album has barely any fillers. Nowadays I'll probably rate it a little bit lower, but when I think back how much I listened to some songs on here, and although it was not really my vibe in half or even the majority of these songs, they were still somewhat enjoyable. It feels like he really put some work in here. Not many fillers. I would back then I would have probably given it a 7. Nowadays 6, 5 or 6.
On it, break.
Not his most outrageous take on here so far. So yeah.
Really wanted to put together some cringeworthy lines on this thing, but I'm gonna stop here, or else I'll just go on.
Probably my favorite Drake album of all time. At least in the top 3, I would say at least in my top 2. With Nothing was the same, my 2 favorite Drake albums, but since I'm bumping this way more, and have been bumping this way more the last 2 years than NWTS, I would say this one is my favorite.
About this record forever. I'm feeling a decent strong 4.
Shit. I'm sorry I haven't seen this so far. Maybe I should make myself a little bit smaller. But at the same time, do you really want to see that much of Fantano? I'm just gonna slide myself down here a little bit, make myself just a little bit smaller, alright? Is that alright?
Boy Cardi himself to expound upon these themes.
Honestly, I don't like this album. Not a big fan of Cardi. I think he's pretty fucking overrated. In my opinion, the most overrated artist right now and has been for the last 3 to 4 years. I don't like Cardi.
On a future.
Well, I don't like him is probably a little bit too harsh. I think he's aight, but you know, if he would have 10 million monthly listeners, I would be say fair. But it's like listening to Cardi and also the music Cardi puts out. It's like when you look at a stock that's way too overpriced. It's like you have stocks on your watch list, whatever, trading at a PE of 10 to 15, while the market is doing very good, and you're like, oh, that's a stealth, I'm gonna invest in that, I'm gonna listen to that artist. And then you have Cardi, which is like Intel right now, you know, trading at a PE of 150 to 200. Everybody listens about him, though nobody really gives a shit. I would even now listen to this artist, and you could even take it a step further and short, like you would short a stock. You don't listen to him, plus you know, try to do whatever things necessary. I would say that's still fair.
Record, which hopefully ends up coming out.
You're an intelligent music investor / listener then, alright? I would give this album nothing more than like a 3 or 4. I mean, who are we kidding?
Sooner
Definitely better than Hood's Hottest Princess, but
rather than later. Feeling a decent 2 strong 5 on this one, and even though it flows kind of like a
yeah, I think the Whole Lotta Red rating was, to me, pretty fair. I would even say it's rated a little bit too high. I'm kind of interested in what he gave this album. I don't even know the name. If it just, I think it's just named Lil Pump.
In which, in a lot of respects, it sort of is. There are more hits than misses here. I'm feeling a light to decent 7, but instead,
alright, he gave this one a 7.
we got.
I get people who would give this album a 7, but I think every one of these people would not say this out loud in public, you know? I'll listen to that album pretty often. I'm even ashamed to admit this right now, but I really fucked with that album when it came out for like half a year, because I was into that Lil Pump thing. And you know, back then I was 13, I was 12 or 13 years old. I think this album dropped in 2018, so I wasn't 12, that can be. I think this album dropped in 2014, then I would have been like 13 to 14 years old. But whatever, when I was 13, I thought, oh, you know, look at this dude's Instagram, he's popping Zans, he's doing a whole lot of drugs. What a fucking cool guy. You know, let's listen to him. Let's follow him. Let's like his posts. I want to be like him too. That was going on for like a few months, but you know, as I got out of puberty and especially this era, I mean, you can't give this album anything above a 5. You know, if you're a really hard trap fan, you know, you reason it on the influence. A 6 would be fair, but even then, you know, you gotta know every lyric for me to be fine with this rating. And 7, rating it, especially if you're like a Fantano, rating it higher than MBDTF and The Life of Pablo. Not gonna happen. Now, I know he's a J. Cole hater.
Like a few.
This album, or this, I think it was an EP, 7 or an 8 would be my rating. I would not be pissed off if anybody told me he or she thinks it's a 10. I wouldn't care. I would be alright. It's understandable. I respect that.
Weird scrawled diary entries that are barely legible, and a weird track about folding clothes. I'm feeling a strong 6 to a light 7, but
yeah, too low, but not really outrageous. You know, compared to the others, not the biggest deal breaker.
I feel like the more
of that album, I would actually give it a 9 because I have so many memories with this album. It was my favorite album at the year it dropped and probably the year after as well. Love Yourself, one of my top 5 favorite hip-hop songs of all time. Great album. I know he doesn't like J. Cole. I know he likes Kendrick a lot more for whatever reason. To me, it's the opposite. I'm not that big of a Kendrick stan, but yes, I think what's coming here is outrageous. I would think he's giving it a 4.
commercial projects I hear from Jake.
Look at this guy. This guy is giving you hip-hop ratings, and some of you actually care about it. Like, this guy is a troller, whether he does it on purpose or not. Nobody should care what this guy says. Not even give 5 shits about it. Some people do. This guy giving you his feedback and reviews on J. Cole, and 2 million people watch it, and 500,000 is pissed, taking it seriously. And some, I think, even a small minority doesn't listen to an album if he gives it a 1 or 2. They might haven't, or even a 3 or a 4. They might haven't heard it themselves or had one listen, which, you know, they had while texting 3 people at the same time, so they didn't really get anything of that experience listening to it. And then they hear, oh, he doesn't like it, 2 million followers or whatever he has, I don't like it anymore either. Fuck that album. Let's listen to Hood's Hottest Princess.
The question of what makes him special becomes harder to answer.
Yeah, what making you special? But whatever. I'm
feeling it.
I always loved at Anthony Fantano's reviews, and I still watch them. Sort of like when I'm cleaning the kitchen, I put on some Fantano reading bad math bars for 30 minutes, part 5, whatever, because I think it's entertaining, and this shit has to be looked at as entertainment solely, or as trolling would be fair too. But yeah, he doesn't like J. Cole. I love the comments below his videos though. All the people saying, you know, he's giving J. Cole like a light 3 or 4 just because he's black or something like that. And I know that he gets, at the beginning, was getting somewhat enraged by it. I even saw a video where he attacked this like a year ago. It just got worse from this point with the comments, and I think now he's just doesn't care anymore for it. But when these comments started, it was pretty funny. I would give this album a 9. I would understand everything from
a strong 5 to a light 6. It just seems like Drake's insecurity is driving him to make all of these experimental tracks, all of these more aggressive tracks where
I'm sorry that I've been talking so much. Please, down below in the comments, tell me what the biggest outragement was from all of these picks to you. Like, which album do you personally think got the worst rating from him? And if you have some examples, newer ones, some examples that did not get mentioned in this video, especially to the other side where he gave an objectively bad album a very good rating, type that down below as well. And don't forget to subscribe and like, hit the bell, and whatever you can do on YouTube. Haven't been on here for like 4 years or almost. Thanks for any support. We're gonna fly a little bit through the rest of here. I want to keep the rest below 5 minutes.
he just constantly sounds silly. I'm feeling a light 5 on this album, who is way too jittery.
I would give Nothing Was the Same a 7 or an 8, but more likely an 8. Great album.
And
don't really know that
focused to drop some lines that would really sort of widen some eyes and surprise some people when it comes to some of the serious topics that he attempts to tackle on some of these tracks. Overall, I'm feeling a decent to strong 6 on this tape. Sort of
I can't comment on this one.
cocky, violent.
I've listened to this album like one time, so my rating wouldn't be fair for me to put a rating on here. Probably you could say the same about Fantano ratings. I think the most albums he reviews got like 1 or 2 listens from him. You can't really put out an honest opinion or a valid opinion after 1 listening session.
Blunt, blowing immaturity that a lot of Odd Future releases do, just maybe with a bit more talent and focus. I did like this thing. I just think it's too underwhelming and full of potholes for me to be completely enamored with it. Again, I like cheap.
Yeah, that's a 10. Now, but seriously, I will give this album like an 8. Everything from a 7 to a 10 would be fair. From the influence it had, it would be a 10, so I would respect everybody saying it's a 10. It's, yeah, I would say it's a 7.5 to me. Fucking great album. Looking back, in my opinion, you have to listen to an album at least 5 times, and these times have to be on separate days and separate occasions, or at least 2 separate occasions. So when you're having a bad day and you're stuck in traffic and you're listening to one album on the way to work, where you then proceed to have a very shitty day because you snacked all the creatine in the supply storage and your boss is really pissed at you, it will influence your opinion about that album if you do the review in the evening or the day after. But if you listen to it on the drive to work, when you're lying at the couch, when you're on a plane, whatever, on a train, when you're outside running, you can put together a way more valid opinion. And what the hell is this at the back? Is this really a band or an album?
Keith sound. I love the singles on this LP. I mean, some of the catchiest and
is this his band?
Most memorable songs of 2012, up there with some of the most notable songs in trap music, period. But as an entire experience, this LP is really one-dimensional. It's repetitive. It's not an enjoyable listen from front to back. I'm kind of feeling a strong 3 to a light 4.
That's crazy. That's crazy. To me, I would say that's the most outrageous take so far
on this thing. For me, Take Care as it currently is just a steak with way too much fat in it that you've got to cut around to get to the good stuff. Overall, I do consider this album to be growth for Drake, though, especially considering that I liked this much more than his last album. I'm feeling a strong 6 to a light 7.
That's okay. Strong 6, light 7, that's alright. I would give this album a 7 to a good 7, strong 7. I know it's it's the best Drake album to a lot of people. I just like Nothing Was the Same and Views way more.
So even though it's still pretty early in the year, I have listened to a lot more albums in 2020 than I've actually reviewed, and still.
Lil Baby was a pretty good single artist back then. He had 4 singles every year that were really slapping, but he's just a bad album creator, bad album artist. This guy, you can't listen to this guy for like more than 30 minutes a day. Not You can't listen to this guy for like 2 hours straight, one tape. And ever since Gunna and him fell out, I'm a big Gunna fan as well, but putting my preference beside, his music has dropped so hard ever since Gunna and him fell out. And you could see that at the California Breathe album, or what was the name of it? It's Just Me, whatever. I think Gunna was in jail most of the time when this album was made, or the majority of the time it was made. You can feel that, like, you just know when you go through that Lil Baby stuff from 2017 to 2021 that Gunna had his hands on the lyrics and most of the songs and the flows. But ever since they fell out and do no songs anymore, he's putting out bad singles as well. Back then he even had some catchy ass singles, and when you would listen through one of his albums, there would be at least 5 to 6 very good tracks, the singles that were actually popping off. But now it's just, you can forget that shit. I'm sorry.
My
Baby, I would say Lil Baby is not that overrated, not the same as Cardi is, but Lil Baby just, he fell off. Maybe not really streaming wise, but his music quality and his variety as an artist just fell off completely. Not even the features save him no more. And when looking back at, most of Lil Baby's albums, the songs with Thugger or Gunna just were the best songs on the tape, except maybe the main title, the main single, where Young Thug and Gunna had their hands in this shit, writing it, producing it, and so on. But this man's just not an artist at all. He's not an artist at all. Like, even, I don't care if you fuck with Gunna because of the snitching, or you don't fuck with Gunna because of anything else. Gunna is at least an artist. At least his music videos have some sort of style, some sort of variety and uniqueness, each for their own, or every album's music videos have their own style. And even the music videos from Lil Baby are just the same ever since 2020. That's just how it is. And it just isn't unique no more at all. Like, it's just like, I think he never really was, but getting that help from Thugger and Gunna helped him a lot. But he just lost that.
turn is one of the most uninspired and mind-numbing listens I've had thus far. This Lil Baby record, it's not good.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go so far. I think I would maybe even argue it's Lil Baby's best album. Though there's this one album with the kid counting money, which would be my favorite Lil Baby album. I think this has the most good tracks. Though Lil Baby albums never have like I don't know what the English term is, but an album is a concept. Otherwise, it would be called a mixtape. And there's this connection that goes through all the songs and the whole project. Like, an artist talks about many different things, issues, topics on an album, but there's like one main theme that goes along all the tracks. Maybe even like a story concept. Just like After Hours is probably the prime example, and even the trilogy, the Weekend trilogy, that really follows a concept 100% through it all. but Lil Baby just has nothing of that. Like some artists have like 10% concept, Lil Baby has 0. So not good is a little bit too harsh. Anything from a 1 or 2 to 6 rating, I would understand. I would give it like a 3 or 4.
I, however, just thought
This
some
is
moments
a
were really
freaking
catchy.
9.
I thought a lot of the
It's
instrumentals were very sweet, and I thought
from the influence, this album is a freaking 10, if not an 11. But I would give it a 9 for sure. 8.5. I would say you have to give this album at least a 7. Everything below is just not fair to what this album did.
that it bordered
Left
on
stuff,
being an interesting listen
but
from the standpoint of, whoa, this is a really druggy, just thick, hazy, intoxicating record. Beyond that, I don't really think Future has much of anything going on this record. I'm feeling a strong 5 to a light 6. This thing,
yeah,
despite its
not a pretty outrageous thing from him. You know, we have heard so many outrageous things. Like I would say, Hood's Hottest Princess one, and the, what was it? This one or the J. Cole one? Nah, I think it was. Yeah, the Chief Keef one were the two most outrageous.
personality flaws, does a great job of fusing
I don't know if
hip-hop
you
with
play
rock
that
and
much, but you have to
electronics
give respect
and
where
pop
respect
music.
is due.
We're only going to see more fusions like this in the future. I'm feeling a strong 5 to a light 6 on this thing. You know, just some records that have more substance over style would be nice, or better performances, songwriting that's actually catchy, mixing that's legitimately good. You know, maybe it doesn't just sound like a bass boosted YouTube poop, but I don't know, maybe that's too much to ask. I'm feeling a decent 3 on this one.
Yeah, I would
Rather
say
than
a decent 3 is okay for the Ken Carson tape. Like, you know, we don't have to act like it's a good artist, like he's a good artist and this is an outstanding tape. It's okay if Ken Carson is your favorite artist, that's totally fine. And if you say this tape is a 10 to me, I would disagree personally. I just think it's, you know, Ken Carson has not put out enough work to be anybody's favorite artist. Anybody that's above the age of 16. All right. I want to thank you very much for listening and watching this video. Subscribe, like this video, comment what was the most outrageous take on this compilation and what was the most outrageous take that did not get into this compilation we watched here. Check out the original video. Link is in my subscription by Gabs Music TV, and most likely you could see me again tomorrow. I'm gonna be filming every day, and I'm very excited to be back on this again. You know, I'm making music too. I have been pretty active with making music for like 4 years. I've been taking a year off from releasing music. I've still recorded a lot, but I got 90% of my, I think we're still at 1,050 subscribers. I got them all from my reviews, and I've been doing reviews for like half a year only, and I've only reacted to German rap. So thank you very much. Subscribe, like, write a little comment down here, and hope we'll see each other again next time. Thank you very much. Hermes is the name. Yeah. All right.